Chris has a prayer request for all the people that Trump may deport to Rwanda. Also, everyone in the prison of El Salvador across the world. On that note, let's talk about a really horrible story, a really horrible thing that I read today. It's probably something you caught as well. In a sweep, because that's what they do, ICE picked up a bunch of folks, including some moms, some women who came into the United States and who had children in the United States. They picked up them and their kids, and they deported them. Okay? These children are citizens of the United States, and they were deported. One of those kids is a 4-year-old, and that kid is being treated for cancer. And that kid was deported with their mom. Now, if you look at Marco Rubio, when asked about, wait a second, how's this going on? He said, if someone's in this country unlawfully, illegally, that person gets deported. Fair enough. If that person is with a 2-year-old child or has a 2-year-old child and says, I want to take my child with me, well then, you have 2 choices. You can say, yes, of course, you can take your child, whether they're a citizen or not, because it's your child, Rubio said. Or you can say, yes, you can go, but your child must stay behind. Now, for me, there's a third option here, right? In a situation where you have a child who's currently being treated for cancer. There is a third. It's not just as simple as you can take your kid and go, or you can leave your kid and go, but you're going. There's also the compassionate response. And that compassionate response would be something along the lines of, listen, this is our policy. These are our laws. You're here illegally. But we're going to make an exception. We're going to understand that you are in a very unique situation. And we're going to allow your child to continue to be treated for their disease. The law, you'll bump into people and it'll be, the law is the law is the law. It's not true. The law is not black and white, and it's not black and white for a really good reason. Compassion and mercy are required in order to make the law feasible. They're required in order to make the law meaningful. Otherwise, it's just a checkbox, right? It's, did you do this? Yes or no? Did you do this? Yes or no? Okay, you get X, or you get Y, or whatever the case might be. There needs to be nuance. There needs to be room for understanding. There needs to be room for empathy. There needs to be room for decisions that are made with the heart. There needs to be room for love and consideration. Otherwise, you do things like this. Like, can you imagine being the person? Can you imagine being the person that makes the decision on that? Oh, your kid has cancer. Well, you're leaving. I don't care about your kid. You're leaving. Your kid can stay and be treated, or your kid can go with you. What 4-year-old's going to say, oh, you know what? I want to stay here. I'm going to stay here and be treated without my mom. What mother? Can you imagine a mother who's like, you know what, I can imagine a mother whose heart is big enough to say, I am willing to go if you will take care of my child. I'm willing to go if you'll take care of my child. And you know what? Maybe that's the story we should tell. It's one of the first Bible stories I ever remember reading. It's one of the first Bible stories that I was really, really sort of mystified by. I had one of those big Bibles. It was like, the size of a piece of paper, right? But it was thick. And it was all these biblical stories illustrated with like half a page of the writing. And it was the story of the 2 women who stand in front of Solomon, the great wise king Solomon. And these 2 women are fighting over a baby. And as the story goes, both of these women each had a boy born right around exactly the same time. And one of the children died. And so both of the women claimed ownership of the child that was still alive. And I was fascinated by this story because Samson's approach is really barbaric. It's not Samson, sorry. Solomon's approach is really barbaric. Solomon says, okay, so both of you claim this child. Yes. Both of you claim to love this child. Yes. Both of you claim to be this child's mothers. Absolutely. And he says, okay, go get me a sword. He tells his attendant, get me a sword. And what we're going to do is we're going to cut the child in half. And each of you will get half. Now, one of the mothers says, yes, that's exactly what we should do. Thank you. And the other mother says, absolutely not. Just give the child to her. And it was in that woman's response that Solomon, he recognized that she was the mother. Her response of saying, you know what, I love this kid so much that I'm willing to give this kid up so that this kid doesn't end up cut in half to this hag, to this monster. I'm willing to give him to this monster who would happily see him chopped in half if it means him being safe. And Solomon recognized that is the answer of a mother. That's the answer of somebody who is capable of love. A mother who's willing to say, you know what, I'm willing to leave my child behind if you'll take care of my child. But no government should ever put a mother in that place. No government should ever put a mother in a place where they have to make that kind of decision. No government should ever put a child in that place. I mean, you know, we just talked about that whole Jesus is King resolution in Oklahoma. We're continuously hearing from that particular side of the spectrum, the same side of the spectrum as what Marco Rubio now claims to be his side. Despite all the nasty things that he said about that group of people, he now claims residence over there. We've heard them go on ad nauseum about how America is a Christian nation. How America is the founding fathers did this and this and this, and it was all about making sure that Jesus was the Gospels, that God was the middle of all things constitutional, that God was the middle of it all. And yet, 4-year-old with cancer. A 4-year-old American citizen with cancer. And the best they can do is, there's only 2 options. You're leaving no matter what. You can take your kid or you can leave your kid. Imagine Jesus sitting on the throne. Imagine Jesus sitting on the throne in Washington. Imagine if Jesus truly was Lord of that land. And imagine if this situation was presented to him. A woman is here illegally. By law, she should be deported. She has a child. The child is an American citizen. She has a child, and the child is an American citizen, and this child is currently being treated for cancer. Lord, what should we do with her? Can you imagine? Can you imagine Jesus saying, be rid of her and tell her to take the kid if she wants? I'll tell you straight up, if that would have been Jesus, if in that situation that's what Jesus would do, I ain't following. I'm not going down that path. I turn my card in. I'm done. Because there is no way that Jesus would do this. There is no way that Jesus would simply look at this and say there's two options here. There's no way that Jesus would be willing to separate a mother from their child, let alone separate a mother from an ill child. There is no way that a practicing Christian, there is no way that a person who adamantly and authentically, sincerely says Jesus is Lord of my life would ever separate a mother from their child, especially a child with cancer. We're supposed to be people of love. We're supposed to be people of wisdom. We're supposed to be people of kindness and consideration. We're supposed to be a people of who are discerning. We're supposed to be a people of nuance, of kindness, of compassion, and of charity. And reading this story today, I see none of those things. And to that I say, shame. Amen.